Welcome to Chiro Author Insights. I'm with Dr. Josh Wagner, and this is an incredibly exciting opportunity for me to talk with one of my mentors, an incredible chiropractic consultant, coach and teacher. He's the creator of the highest converting new patient consultation that is taught in his Patient Mastery program, a wonderful consulting business. He's taught in over 18 countries, appeared on ABC, NBC, CBS, Forbes, in dynamic chiropractic and chiropractic economics. And he is the author of this incredible breakthrough book, but not only has had an impact on my life, is You Deserve It, the missing answer to the life that you want. Dr. Josh, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thank you so much for all you do, Marcus, and for having me on and allowing me to share with your audience and making a difference.
I'm grateful to have you here. I know you have such a compelling and powerful message in the work that you do serving chiropractors. So I'm grateful to have you as well. And today we're going to talk particularly about your book, because this is such an amazing book for chiropractors, and not just chiropractors, but people who want to have their own breakthrough in making a recognition of the changes they need to go through to succeed in ways that they never maybe thought possible or they had been seeking to claim in their life. So I'd love to, before we talk about the book writing process and your journey, I'd love to have your insights a little bit more about the book itself and the message of that book.
Absolutely. So we're starting with the process.
Well, let's talk first about the book. Tell me the message of the book. You Deserve It, the missing answer. What is that missing answer?
Got it. So in case you're listening, I'm a chiropractor. My entire passion and commitment is serving chiropractors, helping them grow their practice ethically with more fun and just doing it really well. More time off, more time with your family. And we all know, unlike other professions, whether it's medical doctors or just the law profession, chiropractic comes with some inherent baggage. We've got stuff from how our profession started to the diversity in the profession, the lack of unity, the lack of alignment, and it makes it a lot tougher for chiropractors. I often talk about the redheaded stepchild to medicine syndrome. But along with that, there's a deep-seated belief that many chiropractors deal with in one extent to another, one severity to another. I know I had it, and most of the doctors I work with in some capacity or another. It could be related to money. It could be related to how you see yourself in your community, respect from patients, your technique, and your recommendations. There are many, many principal foundational beliefs that are necessary to get what you want, like commitment and integrity and discipline and your focus, and all of those are amazing. What I've found through my journey over the last 20 years of loving personal growth and development, being on my own journey, having a brick and mortar practice, an online business, many different endeavors, and in many people's perceptions, being really successful, yet having many failures and many issues of my own, what I've come to realize is a single underlying belief where if you don't have this, everything else will be self-sabotaged. You could have purpose, you could have commitment, you could have intelligence, you could have discipline, but if you don't have this one belief, you will self-sabotage. So instead of just telling it to you right now, I'm going to ask you a question so you can really see for yourself. Since you're a chiropractor listening to this, and you most likely want to grow your practice, because who doesn't? I want you to think really clearly about what your goal and vision for your practice is. We all have one. Think about it right now. Maybe it's a volume, maybe it's a collections, maybe it's just how it looks. And ask yourself this one question in your mind. Do you truly believe you deserve having that practice? Do you truly believe you deserve having that practice? And I'll tell you, it's very, very common to have that little voice in your head say no, because we have undeserving beliefs towards what we want in life, whether it's health, relationships, financial well-being, or specifically your practice goals. So the book is about cultivating, creating, and strengthening your deserving belief that you can apply to any area of your practice. It's my gift to the chiropractic profession, but it extends whether it's a spouse, a child you want to share it with, outside of your practice, it applies anywhere. So the book is on what I haven't seen really promoted in the self-growth world is the deserving belief as the foundation of true growth and success. And then when you put purpose and integrity and commitment and discipline and focus on top of that, it's like putting rocket fuel on your back. So Marcus, I hope that was a good synopsis, and let me know what else I can explain.
Did you get a bit of echo there? Oh, sorry, I got some feedback there. No, that's a really great description. And, you know, having read the book, and right at the beginning, you do emphasize that. And as you highlighted it, it's not only what we achieve in practice, is do we deserve the success in practice? Do we deserve the healthy relationship that fulfills us, the family dynamic that gives us a sense of support and encouragement that our impact is great? So it extends out into every area of our life, from our practice to our family to our civic effect and impact. And so it's a beautiful recognition and realization for the chiropractor to have and to begin to make changes to that process. And what I love about what you commented here within the book as well is you've done so much growth and so much personal development. You went to courses, you invested in those, you read books, you implemented those, and yet there were still areas that were not fulfilled, you were not fulfilling, or that were not achieving. And so this became, if I'm able to anticipate an answer in advance, and I'm speculating here, but your work on this area of deserving on belief became a breakthrough for you before it became the book. Would I be right in drawing that conclusion?
Oh, 100%, absolutely.
Great. So I'd love to hear like how you went from growing your practices, coaching, mentoring chiropractors, having this break, the deserving breakthrough, and what took place within you that allowed that experience to unfold in your life, in your businesses, in your practice, and then eventually evolve into the book. So I'd love to hear just your own personal breakthrough there.
Absolutely. And share the story in the book, but I'll go deeper with you for this audience and realize that, like I said, I remember in high school writing goals for myself. And by the time I got to college, certainly grad school, I was a student of self-growth and self-development, going to seminars. And of course, in the chiropractic profession, we're more prone to that, having to be an entrepreneur, being vitalistic, knowing we're responsible for our health and our lives. So I've always been a student, and even alongside the doctors I'm coaching and teaching, I'm doing the work myself. When I recommend, hey, this really works, it's because I'm doing it every day. It's part of my process. And through my leaving grad school, starting a practice, being in practice, having the insights of really want to contribute at another level, and seeing that I had strategies that I didn't see being taught anywhere in the profession and can really make a difference for chiropractors, I've had lots of phases of my career so far. And it hasn't been a linear curve of I choose to do something and it just works out. No, I'm human and we all have struggles. And I'm usually not going to post those or share those, but I've had plenty of failures, plenty of struggles, just like anyone. And I'm always looking at what moves the needle. And that's why I mentioned other things like integrity and purpose and commitment. All of those are essential and valuable. However, I know myself and others have targeted those and really made a difference, yet some areas can still be stuck, like relationships or money or just peace of mind. And having a really, really wonderful mentor, 40 years above me, older than me, who's done far more in the business success world, like literally taking a company public during his career. And in a conversation with him, because we'll go out to dinner, we connect, and it'll always get into what's important in our lives. And it was a single reply that he was sharing with me about the successes and failures in his life, but the fact that he's never really been much of a saver money-wise, because he always had this just certainty and this belief that like he was always going to be taken care of. There's always going to be money coming in tomorrow, whatever he spent today. And he finished it really by saying, I truly feel like I deserve it. I believe I deserve financial freedom and independence, which he clearly has. And when he said those words, it's just something struck me of everything I've studied. It's not knocking or putting down anything, but I know there's something still underneath it. Because listen, we all know, you go to a certain seminar, you read a book, you learn from a certain person, and you hear of all these other people who get amazing benefits, but it's not everyone. And maybe you didn't. Like, there's still something else. And when I heard that and I started diving into it, I put it up against everything and said, hey, if you don't have a true deserving belief for whatever you're focusing on that you want more of, want to improve in your practice, the other aspects aren't going to happen. And through my self-work with meditative processes, I created a process to really be able to create and strengthen a deserving belief in the individual. So the book isn't just about a concept, it's a tool that you can use, and you can apply it to your practice growth. You can apply it to your relationship. You can apply it to getting out of debt and being financially free. And that's what's beautiful about it. And I see so many amazing doctors who just use this. And of course, there are plenty of practice strategies to use. But if you just use this, you'll see naturally things start to change. Just, it's that synergy, it's that aspect of life. When you change, life changes. And when you really get focused on where your potential undeserving beliefs are, and you flip that switch and you start to strengthen them, life changes. And it's really beautiful, and it's a process. It doesn't cost a dime. You could do it from your own home. You know, it may be a little challenging at first, but it's worth it.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that it's a toolkit, because the synchronicity of changes that happen as a result of putting the time, effort, and energy in, it shows the work that you do on the unconscious level manifests in the physical world, and it starts with that awareness and the direction you move with your belief system, with the sense of deserving. So I think it's a fantastic toolkit.
And
sorry,
Mark, so that was where the concept of the book evolved from, really out of my own life and just being a seeker of, you know, what else don't I know? What else is out there that can make a difference for me? The reason the book evolved is part of my process for self-growth is I'll write in a notebook or on a computer if there's something I'm dealing with, something I want to flesh out. Writing stuff down is a really good tool. It's not for everyone, but it works for me. And a couple of years ago, something I started doing was writing in a Word document, like an autobiography for myself, not in any intention for it to be published, like an autobiography of my life, so I can go back and look and see just memories and how things have changed, maybe share with grandchildren one day. And in the process of writing out, it's very confronting, because I was writing real personal things to me, significant events, mindsets. And I realized how many stories really contributed and related to this concept. And in the process of doing this self-work, I thought, this is a great way to share. Like, I'm not going to share my autobiography, but sharing a book on this topic using a lot of these stories, because the book is filled with personal stories to an extent of, I was very nervous even sharing it, because so much of it is personal family stories that doesn't paint everyone in the best light. And that's how it came out, realizing that this could be a tool to help chiropractors and non-chiropractors through my stories and this concept, and be more easily digestible through stories.
And I appreciate the vulnerability, because it does make it very real within the book, and helps us, identify, because we all experience these journeys as well. I must say, you did perfectly. You segued straight into the question I had for you, which is, tell me how the work that you had done evolved into the book. So you answered that question already, but I do want to just examine that process further. Also, what was the motivating reason? So you've just spoken about, you started recording, in essence, a journal and your journey, and it started to create the framework for the book. What was the next step? Where was the motivation to go, this needs to be a book, I need to put this into a written form to share my message, to impact the profession, to outreach more effectively? Where did that come from?
Right. So even though we are in the digital age, there's no substitute right now for a book when it comes to credibility and positioning. Podcast, having a podcast doesn't compare to it. A book still has that level of, wow, this person did that. They got to that level. And you know what, in certain ways, like I'm sure Marcus could show you, writing a book could be easier than having a podcast. But in the consumer or in the perception of others, there's still, and it's not going anywhere, a book really has another level of credibility, professionalism, and perception. So rather than, let's say, putting it into blog posts or doing videos on it, the book for me was, this is going to have more people take it seriously, which means actually read it, do the process, and hopefully get the benefit. So that was the reason. Now I did it the stupid way of, I'm going to do this on my own. And that was a long, awful, arduous journey because I'm not a writer in any sense naturally. If you get my emails, I write all my emails, and I've evolved over years to write what I would hope are quick, entertaining, valuable emails to read. But writing was my least favorite subject growing up. And even when I say it was like I was writing my autobiography, it was purely like diary entry, autobiography. That's why I wouldn't be shared with the public. So this book, there were so many quarters of a year or months where I was just so disgusted with rereading it and going through it and editing it and just wanting to stop. And I reached out to many, many people in that book world for help, from the entire structure to editing to line editing. I paid one guy who's pretty well known thousands of dollars to help me construct my opening intro story that I thought was a great opener. And after half dozen or dozen workshopping calls together, we decided to scrap it, which was a good thing. But think about the money and the time that went into working on this intro story that we scrap it. Like, so I made so many mistakes because I tried to do it all on my own and piecemeal it together, and just finding, oh, you know, is this person good? Is this person? Think about hiring new staff, how hard it is. And if you need someone for every step we're talking about, cover art, marketing of it, getting it out there, structure, line editing, there's multiple levels of editing. And I found some great people and I found some people that were awful. But doing it all on my own, it was very, very exhausting and took a lot of attention off other things of focus in my career.
And again, there are easier and there are more challenging ways, but ultimately though, you've had the impact of being able to write that. And you said that there's nothing that demonstrates authority like a book. How has it impacted your professional career, your coaching, your business and your mentoring? What impact has it had in terms of the ability to have that as a calling card or a business card or a process of outreach?
Great. So most likely I wouldn't have been chosen to be interviewed on ABC, CBS, and NBC if it wasn't for having the book. Again, I could have had the same content in blog posts or online videos. Guarantee they wouldn't have said, we want him on, if there wasn't the credibility of a book. And by the way, it was self-published, which does make a difference, but the book rather than not a book makes the biggest difference. So this was self-published. I didn't have a publisher. I didn't pitch any publishers. I didn't get any contract, and it doesn't have that designation, but I was still able to get quoted in Forbes online, like major, you don't get much bigger than those major networks to be able to say ABC, CBS, NBC, Forbes. So that really made a difference in people finding out about it outside of the profession. And then even inside the profession, again, it's a level of taking it more seriously rather than if it was just videos or blog posts. And same with a doctor who has a book for their patients. Don't think that people across the world are going to start flying to you or read it, but for your audience, like your area, your patient base, it really makes a difference.
That's right. And I'm going to just ask maybe a different type of question here, because I'd be fascinated really to hear your answer to this. Now you've written the book and it's obviously having a great impact. It's 5-star reviewed. With all of your reviews, you get great feedback from it. How have you changed being an author? How has the process of not just writing the book, but publishing and speaking and getting the feedback on this change your own self-perception or or your own experience of the world? I'd love to see what being an author now means to you.
Good question. Don't think I've been asked that before. Personally, unless there's something I'm just completely blocked, it actually hasn't. At least I don't feel so. From the standpoint of, again, I did this as a reason, so of course, so more people can get access to it, but I could have easily shared this through video, through emails, through blog posts in a certain capacity. It was from the perspective of the people receiving it now are going to have a better experience receiving it. They're going to take it more seriously. They're actually going to do the process because, like I said, this book, it opens up a concept. If you just read it, you're going to get nothing out of it. I give you a tool in the book where if you do it, your life is going to change. And the credibility of the book will have the person act more than a random video online or a blog post. No differently for a chiropractor. If you have a book, there's more likely the patient's going to say, I want to go to that chiropractor rather than the chiropractor who doesn't have a book, because it feels like this one is more professional, more successful, has more stuff going on. So back to the question, Marcus, like I know who I am before writing a book without an author label. I don't look up to author. Like to me personally, it didn't make any difference besides I appreciate more awareness, respect for my message from people that may otherwise wouldn't have had it because of the medium. And that was my goal.
That's actually a beautiful answer. And it does demonstrate the level of both humility and I guess wisdom that you hold to be able to communicate at that level, because that's not always the case with everyone, because they do have their own journey. Part of the journey can be writing a book, but I really appreciate that answer because it doesn't have to change you, but it absolutely can depending on who you are, where you're at. But it does lead itself to another question. And you mentioned that the person reading the book has their own journey process. So now this will be different for the chiropractor in practice. They may write a book and it helps their patient in their journey, but your book also helps as a consultant, your client on their journey as well. So people working with you read the book, they go through the process and they begin to make changes in their professional life. So having a book also allows you to work more deeply with your clients, or in the practitioner's case, their patients, impacting them on a more profound level because the message is there in the writing. It holds that authority. So how do you find the practitioners working with you, utilizing the book, respond and in fact maybe accelerate their progress because of the resource that they now have access to?
Yeah, good question. So to me, it's so obvious that anyone who actually uses this and uses this tool effectively sees results. Again, I'm not saying your life is changing tomorrow, but immediately you're going to feel differently on the inside. You're going to go forward just with another level of feeling good about yourself, more power, more focus, more certainty, which in itself is going to change the external. And like you had said, the synchronicity, things just start changing. But it's so powerful that I don't even get on the phone with a client for our first time if they haven't read the book, if they haven't started doing the process. It's just forced out of knowing what's in their best interest. Now, I'm not checking in on them later on in life, making sure they're doing it every morning, but to start the process of working together and me finding out what's missing and going on in your area that we can, in your practice, in your headspace, you've got to show that you're doing the work. And part of it is you got to read the book, start doing the process. Of course, let us know if you have any issues, or not issues, confusion, or where you need help with the process. And we're getting that resolved before we build on actual practice structural strategies. Because again, if you don't believe you deserve the success you want, the goals you want, I can throw new patients in your office. I can give you the best staff. I can fill your bank account, and you will self-sabotage. So that's the foundational platform everything builds upon.
That's amazing. And I think that translates perfectly to the clinical setting as well. You have your patient read the book, make certain they know and understand the principles that they implement, apply those in their life, so that when they come into the practice, they're accessing the full benefits of the care they receive and therefore magnifying the outcomes and results. So I think that's a really profound insight for the practitioners to realize the book becomes not only a marketing tool or an outreach process, it becomes a way to galvanize the principles that you deliver in your care in their life to maximize the results, benefits, and outcomes. So I think that's amazing. So I really appreciate that insight.
And I noticed this for my book, and I'm sure any doctor who writes a book, you likely share through stories about your own life and yourself. I know my book is filled with very personal stories, which I would never have been able to communicate the amount, or probably it just wouldn't have come up on a one-to-one basis to start a relationship. So there's a huge benefit of doctors who are thinking about working with me or working with me, of really getting to know me better without me having to explain it all to them. Similarly, if you're in practice, everyone loves personal connection, and people aren't thinking about their doctors just as like a robot. Like, they love to know what makes you tick, your story. That's valuable too. That causes connection.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, it's been great talking. I really appreciate it. I'd love to bring this to a conclusion with any insight or final message you have for the chiropractors out there who want to either grow their practices or increase their authority, and how maybe a book might position them in that way. So what would be your message to the chiropractor that maybe doesn't believe they could write a book, or that they don't think that they're a writer, or they're not good at communicating, but they still want to have an impact? What would your message be to them, and what belief system could they begin to cultivate to transcend that limitation?
Absolutely. So first off, even though I didn't go through this process, without a doubt, I know it's possible and available of not being a writer and really getting help, like a paint by number system, that you don't have to slave away like I did writing a book. Like, it's possible. It could be done simply. And I know people have done it, and like Marcus teaches. So that's the first thing, not thinking you're going to have to distract yourself from your practice, your life, slave away, or it's going to be written at the 6th grade level like mine would have come out if I didn't have a great editor. The next is everything that we've been talking about. Again, it's inherently tougher than other professions being a chiropractor. However, when you really understand that the majority of the public has the exact condition that they think you take care of, and you start shifting how you see your practice, which is not discrediting wellness care and taking care of people for all different conditions, but when you realize that you're actually perfectly situated to attract new patients to you and then take them on a journey, but meeting them where they are, how actually easy that is. The fact that even though people aren't racing for wellness care or asymptomatic care, they're racing away from chronic pain medication or surgeries. That's only getting better because people are more aware. They don't want to be on that. You're the solution that 80% of every adult has, let's say back or neck pain, and they already think you take care of it naturally. And when you start thinking about that can be the initial connection, and then you can evolve the relationship with family referrals and their next goals and their other conditions and other stuff and asymptomatic and wellness care. And you don't make it tougher on yourself by trying to convince people through a website or your marketing about what chiropractic really is. And you start to really understand the value you give to patients. And it has nothing to do with your technique or your time you spend with them or your adjustment, but the difference it makes in their life. And you start really valuing your fees, because it's not about an adjustment or a time or a care plan or a technique. It's about the difference you're making in their life. And you start using the deserving process to really own that you deserve practice to be fun, busy, fulfilling, financially really great, covering everything and having a lot more left over. You do that and practice changes. And that's the message I'm grateful for sharing with doctors all over the world, helping them do it and giving a ton away to do it even on your own, at least start the process.
That was beautiful. Dr. Josh, you are an incredible servant of chiropractic, the profession, the docs that you work with. Your message is profound and powerful. I'm grateful for all that you've done, the contribution in my life, my practice, as well as the changes you've made in all the chiropractors throughout the world. So thank you for your message, for your time, for your service and profession. I'm grateful for having had you on the call today. So thank you once again. Appreciate your message. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus, for all you do as well.